Hello and welcome to Gamers Table, a discussion of tabletop role-playing games, war games, movies, books, and other related topics. Be warned, this show may contain some explicit material that may not be suitable for all audiences. Hello and welcome to Gamers Table. My name is Eric.
This is Mike.
This is Dan.
This is Mark.
And I'm Sean.
This episode we're going to talk about Thieves.
Thieves, yes. And I was wondering about this when you first texted us the topic. We're talking about the player class, Thieves, right? Not, douchebags that steal your books.
Well, either or, I guess.
Yeah.
Thievery.
When the guy we used to game with who ended up with a fair amount of my West End Star Wars stuff because, I'd loan it to him and then it was like, I don't have your copy. I've got my copy.
Hey, that's why, well, I guess that would usher in we'll just start out. That's why you guys sign your books.
Yeah, we've done that for a long time.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times when we've gamed with people that
Had sticky fingers.
and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I knew I owned this book, and then you're like, months later, you're at their house and they're like, there's my book.
Yeah.
So it's
I knew it was my copy because I had not necessarily a valuable misprint, but a misprint.
okay.
It was one section of the book that was in there twice. It's
Interesting.
totally my damn Empire book.
So
I like how you named this topic. This is Thieves. You didn't say rogues because that's lame.
right.
It's Thieves. That's the way it's supposed to
Thieves.
be.
You could be a rogue and not be a thief.
This is true.
Jason's missing out.
Yes, Jason's not here today, so we picked a topic that he probably would have loved.
It's required when he's not here.
Yes.
So yes, Thieves. In old school D&D, you were a thief. I mean, if you took your adventuring party, one of your members would play a thief, ideally. But the motivation behind this episode is really what makes a thief fun to play in a group setting. My contention is that next to the paladin, the thief is the next most misused or abused player character
I would think
class.
pigeonholed. That was the first thing that I thought of because it's a utility class.
Right.
And
Trap tripper.
Depending on how you run your game or how you play your game, utility classes have no place or use.
Right.
Disable the trap, pick the lock.
Which
no,
I
hang back
rarely
while we
ever
do
do.
it.
When I play a thief, I don't think I've ever used that skill.
Yeah, you don't play group useful thieves. You
No.
play an actual thief, a pickpocketing swindler.
Yeah, I'm just
Right.
a swindler, a comic, as you will.
Maybe a
A comic
He's
as opposed to like con man.
the comedy of the group.
yeah.
And that's something that I did want to talk about. People have a tendency to play classes in Dungeons and Dragons that most appeal to them. And unless you've played like as long as we have, where you want to just try something new and whatnot.
Are you trying to say what does your preferred class say about you?
Right. Well, I'm just,
I thought we did that
I
episode.
played thieves.
but the mentality of the D&D thief. Yes, they are the utility player. They're they're kind of a backup warrior, especially with their backstab or their what was it called before? Or it's sneak attack now. It was backstab
back in the day. Where you actually had to be like behind
them.
Yeah.
Right. But so the backup of that, I mean, they had limited ability with like magic items and things like that. And at least in first edition, they did.
Yeah,
Didn't they have
a thief could use like a wand or a rod, I think, with the right.
Let's consult the tome. Mike?
Well, I believe in the first and second editions, a lot of the items were specifically marked for working for certain classes. So, like a girdle of giant strength would be only for fighters,
Okay.
and then there was, thief-only items.
That blows
Right.
my mind because that's what like games like WoW do, like almost
Yes.
exclusively.
Well, see,
So Star Wars.
I actually approve of that. As many times as Lucky dicked me out of a class specific, what would have been a class specific magic item, and he's like walking around with a gnome thief with 24 strength because he snatched the book of incredible strength or whatever it was.
Right. But there's that stigma of a thief in your group,
Oh, yes. Don't trust them.
Do you think that thief as a class was part of why D&D had a bad rap back in the day? Being
I don't
the
know if
evil game.
I don't know if it was necessarily
okay.
because of thieves, but
Well,
If anything, it was the clerics of many different gods that were not
Right.
the one and all powerful.
That's the obvious one. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, playing a cut purse, playing a backstabbing bastard.
Yeah.
I never really, thief never entered my mind.
right.
Thinking about that.
Well, all right. Now, what I wanted to kind of segue into is, what would these people actually be like? If you're going to take a real world examples of a gaming group, say, the thief would be, somebody who's trained to stab people in the back, work with poisons, work with, traps and things like that. They probably wouldn't be very nice people to begin with.
No. Probably not.
Sure, you've got the, the argument would be Bilbo Baggins was a nice guy. But he wasn't a D&D thief, really. I mean, he had some of the skills that a D&D thief would, but if you think of like the archetypical D&D thief, those guys aren't good guys.
To me, the archetypal D&D thief is Cyric, who definitely was not a good guy from Forgotten Realms.
Cyric's from Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. No wonder I have no idea who that is.
I'm telling you, I'm not like a huge Forgotten Realms fan, but the Avatar trilogy and the 2 Cyric books after that follow it are amazingly good.
Yeah, I
you don't even have
off the top
to
of my
like
head. I
Forgotten Realms.
can't remember who wrote those, but
it's Troy Denning, I think, wrote some of them. It's Mark approved. I don't think any of it is Salvatore.
It's
MA Mark approved.
No, I think thieves are supposed to be like guys who do heists or break-ins. They're
second story man.
mobsters.
Mike just gave me an awesome idea.
These are guys who are safe crackers and con artists.
D&D Ocean's 11 whole group of thieves.
What about Leverage on TNT?
There you go. Yeah. Brilliant,
Leverage.
Mike.
I just thought of a book series I read a few years ago now. It was about a couple of thieves. The author's name is Lynn Fluelling. The first book of the series is called Luck in the Shadows, but the series is called the Night Runner series.
Okay.
And it's really good.
Is this fantasy, you're saying?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I anticipate
there are magical things happening.
I anticipate to soon be coming out of my fantasy hiatus.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thieves World. There was an old D&D supplement called Thieves World where it was I think the whole campaign had revolved around like the thieves and things like that.
Isn't that, and again, I could be completely wrong, but Freeport, the city of thieves, right? That's the True 20.
Oh, the Green
Splinter,
Ronin.
the Splinter faction of D&D that is True 20.
Right. Yeah, that started out as a 3rd edition adventures series that they turned into their kind of their own thing. Lankmar. You had Fafford and Grey Mouser.
Yeah.
Grey Mouser would have been a very good like a multi-class thief because he also had magical powers or abilities because he could do certain things, but he was kind of like your fighter thief combo. Then when you talk about like
fighter thief mage combo,
no, I'm talking about like Fafford being the fighter and he being the thief. Those are always whenever you have a 2-player game, those two work really well together, a fighter and a thief. Not a whole lot of other classes worked well together in duos like that because you don't see a whole lot of like wizard cleric combos.
Or cleric thief.
Right.
You're just asking to get swatted.
Well, just you go in a different direction. You don't fight people when you're that kind of a group. You're manipulator.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I like about the thief class. I would say it's probably my favorite because it emphasizes all the things about the game that aren't necessarily combat.
Right.
Yeah, it's more or less how do you get out of the fight rather than get into a fight.
Right.
Right. I think that was a good thing about 3rd edition 3.5 was the
emphasis of skills.
The emphasis of skills and the importance that a thief could bring to the table.
Oh yeah.
With the sheer amount of skills that they could have.
That's why everybody was multi-classing with thief, right? Was to get all those skill points.
You take 1st level thief so that way you get the most skill points as a human.
1st edition thieves had all the thievery skills, but in 3rd edition, then you could totally
You could
drop half of them if you want.
Yeah, that was something that was always kind of interesting to me too. Was the 1st edition, but as you went up, your thief abilities progressed, and it was all percentage based. Which I'm always
I love
big
percentage.
Fan of. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the percentage based anything. Anyway. But then it kind of went away from that. It got to the point where in 3rd edition, thieves, if you got high enough level, you could pretty much do anything. I mean, you had to start finding just ridiculous things to do, like locks
locks would not really exist that difficult, basically.
No.
Right.
Right.
Now, because it would have to be a magical lock or something like that. So the progression of the thief went from this kind of a utility player to this, I think, integral part of the group as the edition changed.
Striker.
Now they're in 4th edition. They kind of went back to this utility fighter kind of thing where
That's one of the things I dislike about 4th edition is the fact that even though they've still got character classes, it doesn't really matter because there is so much overlap.
well, yeah.
And it's like everybody has, the ability to heal themselves or
Yeah,
potentially
but that's
other people.
because I think people were already making up for that in 3.5 anyway with multi-classing and magic items. They just legitimized it.
Yeah.
Or made it worse.
When you legitimize bad habits, that's probably not a good thing. But
Right. What are some instances of thieves, maybe in popular culture or movies, books, whatnot, that you can think of that would really inspire someone to play a thief?
Ocean's 11. I just
Yeah,
said
he
it right
was
there.
at Ocean's 11,
I wanna-
Leverage.
I now want to do an all thieves group.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
Null halfling thieves.
Null halfling
Wow.
thieves?
All.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
all halfling.
null.
Like, null.
Halfling.
Well,
That's a weird race.
All man, bear, pig.
we've sort of done the all thief group Ocean's 11 thing, but you got to think of it like a Shadowrun.
Well, that's my thing. I've always thought of Ocean's 11 as a great Shadowrun movie, without the
'Cause you're
sci-fi.
dealing with high tech,
Right.
and impregnable
Sneakers
places.
is a great Shadowrun movie.
Sneakers, yeah.
Yeah.
You're asking about inspiration. I'll tell you
Oh, yeah.
straight. I mean, it's out of an Ocean's movie, but we're talking about doing the World War II superhero campaign.
Right.
And my inspiration for that is
Eddie Izzard.
No, not hey, that would work too. No, I don't know his name. It's the cool French guy who plays the Fox in Ocean's 12.
Yeah.
It's that
never
cool
remember
French
that
guy
actor's
who's
name.
always the cool French guy in like every movie that has a cool French guy.
Without
in it.
Jean Reno.
Exactly,
Right.
without Jean Reno.
When he and Jean Reno in the same movie,
That's
would be
perfect
too-
storm,
it'd be
man.
Too cool.
Yeah,
Right.
but no, I want to play that like real high end cat burglar type of character. He
Wasn't
was
the French guy in Hogan's Heroes also a cat burglar kind of guy, or a saboteur or something like that?
It's
a French,
probably-
yeah, that's a French cat burglar. And then you thrust a guy like that into World War II. What do? Well, if you're good at getting in and sneaking around, what do? You plant
Take a bomb.
explosives.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
I can't wait till we play that. By the way, Mike.
Now, if
Wink,
you
wink.
want to talk other genres, Wild West would be a good place to do all thieves.
Oh yeah, your
Sure.
Doc
Oh, yeah.
Train
Holiday.
robbers and
Right.
Robbery,
Train
yeah.
robbers. Yeah, because once you move
Cattle
out,
rustlers.
you move out of the fantasy genre and you start looking into modern genre or whatever. Yes, then I think the essence of the thief becomes a little bit more blurry. You've got the sci-fi. Yeah, you could be the scoundrel. You could be the bounty hunter or whatever. Yeah, those are probably thieves in their genre. Old West, I like that because most of those guys, I think, if you put them in a D&D context, would probably be fighters or rangers.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the Dark Tower series now, where you've got a fantasy setting with a gunslinger as your main character.
Right. One instance of a thief character from a movie I thought of was Matthew Broderick's character in Lady Hawk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he was a thief. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what he was, and breaking out of prison and all that stuff. That was a good example for
he
me.
was a hapless ne'er do well, an unlikely hero.
Yeah,
to,
yes, very, very much so.
Conan the Barbarian.
Oh yeah,
Conan was because in the description of Conan he's a thief, he's a reaver.
Right, but so we're talking about movies, but in the Conan movies, you don't really get a sense of his thieveliness.
No, not at all.
Nah, he's too
like how
big.
it should have been. Right,
And and that's funny
Too
because
bulky.
in the Robert Howard stories, he's very much a thief.
he's very thief. That's why I prefer the old pulp
So, yeah,
stories to the
I
movie.
will disagree with you, Dan.
You think?
I think your whole image is just based on the fact that he's a big muscle-bound guy. The
right.
entire plot of that movie is stealing gems, sneaking in, kidnapping people.
Right.
He does
It's
do a lot
all
of
thief
sneaking.
work.
You're talking
It's
about
all
now.
thief
Of
work.
course, you're talking about the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan the Barbarian.
right.
correct?
Not the Jason Momoa.
Oh, that latest one?
Yeah,
Mike has wiped that from his memory.
You forgot you
Yeah.
even seen that, huh?
Yeah, it's,
No,
it's
I-
dead to me.
That's
but
not a Conan
I watched
movie.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
you describing it, I can get that. But
Yeah.
I watched
Your impression
Destroyer
of it.
recently, and
Right.
he just didn't feel like a thief to me.
Right. I mean, think about
I mean, fighters sneak around.
in the
that doesn't make him a thief.
the throne room of King Osric. You have stood up to Thulsa Doom, and who are you? Thieves.
Right.
He doesn't say you're a bunch of warriors.
Right.
Because they Conan was awesome in a fight, but he was also very sneaky.
He could climb walls like nothing else.
That's because of his Sumerian background.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, of course.
His Sumerian regional feat.
That he didn't have to pay for because he's a power gamer.
That's right. And he's human. He got the extra.